The cameras flashed. The typically boisterous studio was unusually quiet. And just like that, a famously unflappable late-night host couldn't hold back his tears.
It was honestly a moment that just stopped everyone in their tracks.
It really did. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
Yeah, from red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today, our mission is to unpack a viral and, frankly, heartbreaking moment that unfolded on live television. We're talking about when Andy Cohen broke down on Watch What Happens Live.
Right. And more importantly, we are going to pull back the curtain on the woman he was mourning, Kyra Samson.
Because the ripple effect her story has caused across Hollywood is just massive. And we'll get into that, pulling from recent coverage by TMZ, The Blast, and Entertainment Tonight.
It's a profound story, really. It forces us to look past that glossy veneer of the entertainment industry.
Exactly. So let's just think about the environment of Watch What Happens Live for a second. It is the epicenter of reality TV gossip.
Oh, totally. The clubhouse.
Right. The entire architecture of the show is designed to be chaotic fun. It runs on this specific algorithm of, like, celebrity drama, signature cocktails, and high-energy interactions.
And Andy Cohen is the maestro of that chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the guy who navigates screening matches between reality stars with a smirk and a sip of his drink.
Yeah, when he sits in that chair, he is the ultimate anchor of escapism.
Which is exactly why Thursday night's broadcast felt so jolting.
He really struggled to even get through his announcement.
He did. He was actively wiping away tears as he shared the news that their former production manager, Kyra Samson, had passed away just that Tuesday.
You could just see the visible weight of that loss on him. He had to drop the persona.
Yeah, he had to take a serious tone on a show that is famously, anything but serious.
It was like a record scratch in a crowded nightclub. It was like watching the conductor of an orchestra just drop his baton and walk off stage.
That's a really good way to put it. It immediately broke the fourth wall.
Right. It made everyone watching realize that behind the bright lights and the manufactured drama, there is a very real workplace.
Filled with human beings who love and lose each other.
Exactly. And to understand why her loss hit that production team so incredibly hard, we have to look at what Kyra actually did.
Because people hear the title production manager, and they might picture someone just, sitting at a desk pushing papers.
Right. But the reality of that job in live television is closer to being an air traffic controller in the middle of a hurricane.
That is the perfect analogy. The production manager is essentially the central nervous system of a show.
Yeah.
They're managing the logistics, the schedules, the crew, the talent. They have to say no to people who are very used to hearing yes.
Which is not easy in Hollywood.
Not at all. And Kyra had been a beloved member of the Bravo family for 4 years. Cohen actually highlighted this fascinating paradox in her personality.
He said she was known for her sweet smile and gentle demeanor, right?
Yeah, while simultaneously being a small but mighty enforcer.
It takes a staggering amount of emotional intelligence to embody both of those traits at once.
Seriously.
Andy painted this really vivid picture of her at BravoCon. For anyone unfamiliar, BravoCon is a massive convention filled with tens of thousands of incredibly passionate, sometimes unruly fans.
Oh, it's intense.
And he described seeing Kyra out there with a bullhorn, corralling these massive crowds.
Wow.
You have to understand the energy required to manage thousands of screaming reality TV fans, keep the production on schedule, and somehow still keep a sweet smile on your face.
So that people actually want to follow your instructions.
Exactly. It requires a rare kind of competence.
And her trajectory definitely reflects that competence. I mean, she graduated from Northwestern University, landed the gig at Bravo, and her career just kept climbing.
She was really moving up.
Yeah, the official site for the fund set up in her honor described her as eccentric and unforgettable.
Wow.
She had this distinct knack for knowing exactly what to prioritize in a high-stakes environment.
And she was ambitious, too. Last year, she made that classic Hollywood leap. She moved from New York all the way over to Los Angeles to join the production staff of Jeopardy!
But Kyra's story goes far beyond her work in television. And the details of her final months and the grueling battles she fought are both heartbreaking and deeply inspiring.
We're going to get into that right now because her life was about to change drastically. She was 27 at the time of the move.
Right.
She had this new high-profile job. She was in a new city, and she had recently gotten engaged to her college sweetheart, William Truesdell.
It sounds like the perfect new chapter.
It really was. The pieces were all falling into place. But then just a few months after that cross-country move, she received a medical diagnosis that brought all of that momentum to a devastating halt.
Yeah, this wasn't a sudden event like a car accident. It was the beginning of a grueling 9-month and 11-day private battle.
With one of the most unforgiving diseases in the medical world. Let's talk about the mechanics of that diagnosis, because it is vital to understanding what Kyra and her family were up against.
She was diagnosed with glioblastoma.
And when we hear the word cancer, we often think of an expanding lump, something that can be surgically removed or blasted away with chemotherapy.
Right, but glioblastoma doesn't work like that.
Not at all, does it?
No, it behaves entirely differently, which is what makes it so lethal. Glioblastoma, or GBM, is the most aggressive form of brain cancer.
And why is it so hard to treat?
Well, it comes down to its biology. Instead of forming a solid, distinct mass like a golf ball that a surgeon could just pluck out, it grows more like a weed in a lawn.
Wait, like a weed?
Yeah, it sends out these microscopic, thread-like tentacles deep into healthy brain tissue.
Oh, wow.
So even if a surgeon removes the main tumor, those invisible tendrils remain behind.
And the brain has its own biological security system that complicates things even further, right?
Exactly. You're talking about the blood-brain barrier. The human brain has this highly selective, semi-permeable border of cells designed to protect it from toxins circulating in our blood.
Which is usually a good thing.
It's an evolutionary marvel. But in the case of glioblastoma, it becomes a deadly obstacle. The barrier recognizes chemotherapy drugs as foreign toxins and blocks them from reaching the tumor.
That is just brutal. So the treatments we rely on to cure other cancers are largely ineffective here.
Yeah. Entertainment reports referencing the National Cancer Institute note that 15,000 people are diagnosed with it every year, and the average survival rate is just 15 months.
And Kyra fought it for just over 9. We know she went through radiation, she went through whatever chemotherapy they could attempt, and she even traveled to Germany to seek out experimental treatments.
She threw everything modern medicine had at this disease.
She really did. And her father, David Samson, who many might know as a podcaster and the former president of the Miami Marlins, watched this up close.
He described it as one of the cruelest diseases he has ever seen.
The cruelty lies in the fact that it attacks the very organ that makes a person who they are.
Yet, he noted that she handled those grueling months with immense courage, poise, and resolve. He actually shaved his head in solidarity with her last fall, as the treatments took their toll.
There is a specific statement David Samson made to The Athletic that I want us to dissect, because it completely challenges our default script for how we process tragedy.
What did he say?
He said, "To say you feel lucky when your child dies at 28 years old would make me sound like the robot that people think I am. But that luck is based on the lifetime of experiences that we had with her and the lifetime of things she accomplished."
Wow.
And then he added, "She didn't get cheated for those 28 years, not for a day. But she has been cheated now for what could have been."
That statement is just a masterclass in emotional resilience. It raises such a fascinating point about the human capacity to compartmentalize grief and gratitude.
It really does. Because when someone loses a child, society almost expects them to be entirely consumed by the injustice of it.
And the injustice is undeniable.
Absolutely. But he is making a profound philosophical choice here. He is actively bifurcating the timeline of her life.
Right. He's grieving the future that was stolen from her, the wedding, the career at jeopardy, the decades ahead.
But he refuses to let that stolen future invalidate the beauty of the 28 years she actually lived.
He is protecting her legacy from the disease. By saying she didn't get cheated for those 28 years, he is affirming that her life was complete in its own right.
It wasn't just a prologue to a future that never happened. It was a vibrant, fully realized life.
It is a highly evolved way to process trauma, especially for someone who has spent his career in the hyper-rational, unsentimental world of professional sports management.
And it speaks volumes about the kind of life Kyra lived. She must have filled those 28 years with so much light to leave her family with that level of profound gratitude amidst their grief.
Definitely. Hey, if you're moved by these deep dives into the real human stories behind the headlines, make sure you hit subscribe. We've got more incredible stories ahead.
Yes, definitely hit subscribe. Because how does a family channel unthinkable grief into a movement? By ensuring their loved one's fight becomes a catalyst for change.
Which brings us to the Kyra Fund.
Right. So for the Samsons, they established this fund in partnership with the Glioblastoma Research Organization, or the GBMRO.
And David Samson has stated very clearly what his goal is. He wants Kyra to be the catalyst and the statistic that ends this devastation, so no other family has to feel this pain.
Let's look at how a fund like this actually operates, because it's not just a symbolic gesture. The GBMRO is a nonprofit that directly funds medical research.
And traditional medical research can be excruciatingly slow. I mean, scientists have to apply for massive federal grants, which can take years of red tape and peer review.
Just before a single dollar even reaches a lab.
Exactly. But organizations like the GBMRO are designed to be agile. They can take crowdfunded money and immediately inject it into promising, cutting-edge clinical trials.
They act as seed funding for aggressive new approaches to breaking that blood-brain barrier we talked about earlier.
Yeah, or targeting those tumor tentacles. The family set a goal of $350,000 for the Kyra Fund.
And the momentum behind it has been nothing short of staggering. Within just days of her passing, heavily propelled by Andy Cohen's on-air tribute, the fund was nearing the $300,000 mark.
That is amazing.
That level of immediate, massive financial mobilization doesn't happen in a vacuum. It requires a community aggressively rallying behind you.
And we saw an unprecedented outpouring of love from the Bravo universe.
Oh, absolutely.
Stars from across the network's major franchises left heartfelt tributes. You had Kyle Richards and Camille Grammer from Beverly Hills, Dolores Catania from New Jersey.
Candiace Dillard-Bassett from Potomac.
Right? Bronwyn Newport from Salt Lake City. Even massive fan-run accounts, like Queens of Bravo, were mobilizing their followers to donate.
This reaction highlights a really fascinating sociological dynamic within the entertainment industry. Reality television is frequently stereotyped as the most cutthroat, superficial environment on Earth.
Right, because the final product broadcast to the audience is often built on manufactured drama and intense narcissism.
But the making of that product is an entirely different story.
The contrast between the on-camera product and the off-camera reality is stark. The people producing these shows are working grueling 14-hour days.
They're managing fragile egos, solving impossible logistical nightmares on the fly.
And dealing with the immense pressure of live television.
It's like a restaurant kitchen. The dining room might look elegant and serene, or in Bravo's case, like a fabulous cocktail party.
Yeah, but back in the kitchen, the crew is sweating.
Exactly. They're communicating in shorthand, keeping the whole operation from going up in flames. You form a very specific type of bond in those trenches.
The crew members become a fiercely loyal, tight-knit family.
You don't see this kind of widespread emotional reaction from the stars and the crew unless the person profoundly impacted the lives of the people around them.
And we get a beautifully clear picture of that impact through the tribute written by her best friend, Catherine.
That tribute was so touching.
It really was. It adds this vital, deeply human layer to the narrative that numbers and statistics simply can't convey. Catherine shared that she and Kyra met while working together on Watch What Happens Live.
And they bonded instantly, right?
Yeah, over the shared chaos of the job, their opinions on Bravo shows, their production ideas, and a mutual love for the Jonas Brothers and Adele.
Catherine painted this truly cinematic image of the two of them from just last summer. She described them driving around the historic Sony studio lot in Los Angeles, right where The Wizard of Oz was filmed.
Just living the dream.
Yeah, she said they were laughing, yapping, and just couldn't believe how lucky they were to be working together again on a major studio lot.
It is such a vivid, grounding image. Two young women in the prime of their lives, driving through a place steeped in cinematic history, listening to Adele, completely unaware of the medical storm that was about to break.
Yeah.
Catherine noted how insane it was to reconcile the fact that Kyra had just passed away peacefully, surrounded by love, when just months prior, she was perfectly fine, thriving in L.A.
And even during the darkest days of her fight, Kyra's focus remained outward. She actively urged her father to keep recording his podcast.
Really?
Yeah. The final episode she was able to listen to featured an investigation he worked on that actually ended up winning a Pulitzer Prize.
Oh, wow.
She remained plugged in, passionate, and fiercely supportive of her family's endeavors until the very end.
Her life, though tragically brief, was remarkably dense with meaning. I mean, she prioritized her time with loved ones, laughter, music, and pop culture.
When you synthesize all these elements, the live television breakdown, the brutal medical reality of glioblastoma, the profound perspective of a grieving father, and the mobilization of an entire industry, you see a story of transformation.
A story that started with a shocking moment of vulnerability from a late-night host and evolved into a powerful legacy of life-saving research.
Before we wrap up, we want to leave you with one final thought about the invisible army behind your favorite shows.
It really makes you think differently about what you're watching.
It does. I want to challenge you, the listener, to shift your perspective the next time you turn on your television. Whether you are watching a highly polished drama or the most chaotic reality TV reunion, I want you to think about the people standing just out of frame.
The people holding the clipboards, managing the crowds.
Working 14-hour days to create the escapism we all consume. People like Kyra. Their real off-screen lives, the grueling battles they sometimes face, and the intensely loyal communities they build are infinitely more beautiful and impactful than any drama ever captured on film.
So true.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.